It's another beautiful Sunday afternoon. This is Rubbin Minds. Welcome. My name is Abu Kalbuch, and it's very good to have you here as always. We're going to be starting off as we always do with the week that was, looking back at news or headlines that caught our attention in the past week. And I have here with me two of our regulars who are going to be dissecting with us. Wale Oshunde, thanks for being here to stay with us.
Thank you.
And Boladale Adekoya, thanks for coming.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Let's start with you, Wale, now. And we have to start with Kano. It's a very bizarre story, if I may use those words, and a lot of people have weighed in on it. We did hear stories about a septuagenarian who was pretty much murdered because of blasphemy, and it's a very touchy subject because, of course, anything around religion in Nigeria is always very dicey. But we've heard so many versions of the story. We did hear an account that whether there was no blasphemy or not, something about the lady telling people to stay away from the front of her shop. Whatever the case is, she was killed and her head was held around the town and all of that. And people are trying to understand what law empowers citizens to kill in the name of blasphemy. Is it something we should still be talking about in 2016?
I think we should start this way. It's most unfortunate, and then we want to commiserate with the families of the lady in question, or the woman in question. It's most unfortunate. It's most despicable. There is no law. Absolutely no law, guaranteeing the fact that you can murder anyone at all. There is no, in fact, there is sanction, a very serious one at that. Anyone who kills, we all know that's a very popular line. It deserves to be killed as well. But we leave that to the law. And then I want to use this opportunity to call on the security agencies involved, especially the Nigerian police, to actually conclude investigations. We've had a lot of series on this whole matter, and then they are actually investigating. So it should not take so long, and then we should bring those who are actually involved to justice.
Yeah.
That's exactly what
like you said, Boladale, I mean, it's something that shouldn't take too long. We do have pictures even of some people who were involved in the entire situation, and people were there, they were eyewitnesses, so getting those who did this shouldn't be too hard. But if we get them and they're sanctioned and maybe thrown in jail or whatever the case may be, or get capital punishment, is it really going to stop this from happening next time?
Well, let me start by saying that it is quite unfortunate. And apart from it being unfortunate, it has been a recurring decimal for a very long time. We've had issues of people being massacred because of alleged blasphemy. And I think all this happens to, all this can be traced back to the issue of the Sharia law. I don't understand how Nigeria practices its own democracy, but what I understand is you cannot have a Sharia law and also have a constitution where they are both contradicting each other. The constitution is frankly on murder, while the Sharia law allows blasphemy, murder death as a punishment for blasphemy. I think that should really be looked into. And I think it's really important that northern leaders, most especially the president, the governor of Kano State, and the emir of Kano, the three individuals, the trio, they've not been very impressive. I'll be very frank on that. Governor Danguje wrote a press release. He condemned the act and he said he has made steps to ensure that the culprits will be brought into book. Fine, that is good. But this was the same governor months ago that also backed death penalty for Sharia law on blasphemy. So how can you see? Well, don't let us deceive ourselves. Politicians can do these things for PR, but the issue is this: there are concrete, germane issues, fundamental issues that are there. The emir of Kano is yet to issue a single press release on this issue, and that is the overall load of Muslim communities in Kano State. Is that the issue? The president of the country, who happens to be from northern extraction, also wrote a press release condemning the act. But in that press release, there was also a clause. That is the most despicable clause any president in this country can issue.
Let's talk about that clause now, and it's something that it was talked about a lot online yesterday. And let me just quote what he said. He said, "Let us learn to respect each other's faith, so that we can know each other and live together in peace." Now, where do you think the controversy in that has come in? People are thinking, is he saying we should respect Islam and Christianity? Is he blaming the lady who was killed? Is he blaming the people who killed the lady? What do you get from this quote?
Well, I don't want us to actually misquote Mr. President. I don't want to believe that there would be any president in this world, who would actually agree with anybody who has murdered another one in cold blood for whatever reason at all. I think that is a very important point that we all need to actually acknowledge.
But does anything in this quote make you feel like he might be saying blasphemy should be something that should be stayed away from or something like that?
Well, one thing about me personally now is that I don't try to infer what is not clear from whatever situation. That's the truth. Right now, what I can only see from this quote is the fact that we all need to be careful, and then probably we need to do more amendments to whatever, like Bola said, to our laws and all that. But I don't want us to actually strictly quote Mr. President either within context or out of context, to meaning that he was actually agreeing or aligning himself with the fact that somebody was killed.
But one thing is clear: the position President Muhammadu Buhari occupies is one of the most important and sacred position in this country. And for you to be in that position, you must, all your utterances, releases, and statements must be rendered unambiguous. For the president to have written that statement, I know he might probably be trying to justify either way, but that's, in that context, is ridiculous. I'm not sorry to say this, because if the president is telling us that we have to accommodate each other's religion, what is he saying? Someone has been murdered for what? Because an individual is trying to have an ambition in front of a shop, and she said, "Oh, please move back a bit." Is that true? What? I don't understand the blasphemy in that. And the president is now quoting. See, let's be realistic. Mr. President, see, and that's another issue we have to talk about. It's very important. I think I'm very sorry I have to digress a bit. This happens to be the issue of Fulani herdsmen. The president is the grand patron of the Fulani Herdsmen Association in Nigeria. And the same president refused to mention the issue of Fulani Herdsmen massacre that has killed over 1,000 Nigerians in his Democracy Day speech. What signal is he passing? I don't understand. Are we now in a sectional society? Are we now running a country that is based on northern and southern rule?
It's very interesting. I mean, we've talked a lot about security on this show in the last 3-4 years, and for the most part, of course, we've talked about Boko Haram. And recently now, Boko Haram has not even featured in most of our conversations, but we're still talking insecurity. Now, we've talked about the issue in Kano. You've mentioned the Fulani herdsmen. There's a Biafra issue that also happened. We did hear about people who were killed in Asaba or Onitsha, where there were protests going on and people were shot and killed. And we don't know if any statement also came from Mr. President. What's your take on that, on the entire Biafra situation, which continues to fester, and we don't seem to have any concrete sort of measures taken from government?
Well, I think very honestly now, I like to align myself with those who have called for maybe a restructuring of our country, because I see no sense in somebody taking to the streets and then burning houses, and all that, and people are dying every time, simply because they want to go on their own, or because a particular section of the country wants to, go on their own. They want to be separate. I mean, we've seen that happen all over the world. And I think right now, now is the time that we all need to congregate at a juncture where we decide what exactly we want for this country. If some people want to be on their own, good for them. If we think that other people can still stay together, we are law-abiding citizens, and then we feel things will still move on well with us, then, so be it. But I think it is unfortunate. It is most dastardly that some people will take to the streets, kill people, kill themselves. And then, you see, one very unfortunate side to it is that some politicians or power centers are behind this whole thing. And so it doesn't make any sense for anyone. Yeah. These politicians, they have their own children abroad. Some of them are even within Nigeria. Have you seen any of them take to the streets and then they are clamoring for this separation we are talking about? Not at all. And so, all of those are brothers and sisters who are actually being used day by day, should come back to their senses, should go back home, and then face the reality. That's the truth. I see no sense in you taking to the streets, and then you die in the process, you kill yourself in the process over an agitation that is actually not backed up by your own leaders. So that is exactly the truth. And so I think it is very important that we all sit down and then have a rethink on the Nigerian project. For me, I think Nigeria is one indivisible country right now. But if we feel that a particular section is whatever, be maligned or whatever, for whatever reason they want to go their separate ways. It's not bad if they want to, but they should do it in accordance to the law.
But I don't know. There was also talk, I mean, of confrontation with members of security, of the security personnel, police, and all of that, with regards to the Biafra situation as well. Is force the route to go now with these things? Because, I mean, it may work with force, but like we've seen, lives will get lost. What sorts of measures should the president be taking now, or what should he be doing with regards to Biafra? You
see, the issue of Biafra is rather belated. I think when the agitation started in the 70s, it was in the 60s rather. It was something that was really germane. Now people are clamoring for that, maybe because of reasons better known to them. They feel it is important for them to review or revisit that agitation. I think it's right. I think they are well within their rights. I think for the state, there's a committee of persons, more or less numerous, permanently occupying a definite proportion of territory, independent of the limits of external control. A processing organized government, individuals they have reasons to agitate. Now, if Biafrans feel they want to go, I think the best thing, a sensible administration should do is to have a referendum. It is not hard. It is if people want to. If people want to, let them leave. That is why it's a federation. It is not by force. And you try to make this country is one Nigeria. Where nobody is going to. Oh, for what reason? You cannot have one state when people are no longer interested in that unity.
Just before we go now, just quickly, because we have to touch on the Niger Delta. There's a lot also happening there with regards to insecurity. The Niger Delta Avengers continue to blow up pipelines. We're hearing of villages being run over there by the military. We're not sure what's happening. Mr. President was supposed to visit at some point during the week. We did hear that threats were issued to him and he didn't go. We don't know if that's why he didn't go or not, but he just didn't show up. And Mr. Vice President did represent him. Niger Delta is boiling again. I mean, oil prices are going up, but it doesn't seem to be reflecting because we don't have any oil to sell pretty much.
Well, let me make this very opening statement. The president should have made that trip. I mean, on no account, I do not know the justification for his absence. But the truth is, he should have made that trip. You know, in spite of all sort of... I mean, we have well-armed military, isn't it? I mean, according to what we even heard from government, we have military that is battle ready and all that. So, Mr. President should have made that point. Now, that aside, I feel there is no sense in people blowing up our collective patrimony. That's the honest truth. And then for no reason at all. I mean, just because you're saying some people are being haunted or people are needed to face whatever court matters and all that, all of a sudden, all of these blowings came up again. And so we need to really be very serious. I mean, these were issues on which basis we actually tackled the former president. And so we really need to know what exactly we are doing now in government. Is
negotiation an option this time again? I mean, we've heard about ransoms being paid in the past. And what should we be doing this time? Is the military force the way to go? Quickly.
For me, I think initially I've also advocated for a bit of a forceful removal of these miscreants, so to say. But from all indications, I think these people they are well organized, they are coordinated, and I think it is important that the federal government should look into negotiating with them. It's really important. I think the major problem is we started when the issue of illegal refineries were dismantled and the boys no longer have any means of livelihood. You should understand that it's a carrot and stick approach to any issue of agitation.
And that's what the government should do.
So the government should leave this if it's illegal bunk. Just few of them. Let these guys have something to. But now they don't have anything. I expect them to see that I do. It's not going to work.
Thank you very much, Bola. We need to go. Thank you very much, Bola. Thank you very much, Wale. I mean, Nigerian issues always takes us a long time, but of course, we'll always have you back to continue this discussion. We'll take a break now and be right back. Please stay with us.